The woman my boyfriend saved from a fire was named Chloe. On what was supposed to be our wedding day, he received a phone call and informed me that he had to leave immediately because Chloe was feeling insecure. I stood there, trying my best not to cry as I begged him to stay, but Liam simply sent me an impatient voice message asking why I was being so difficult when she had just been through a dangerous situation. This was not the first time Liam had chosen Chloe over me. Feeling a profound sense of disappointment, I called off the entire wedding and left with my luggage. Later, when I was kissing another man, Noah, Liam was filled with regret. He became desperate for me to come back to him. Today was the day Liam and I were meant to get married. I had been so nervous that I barely slept the entire night before. After being together for 5 years, from our college days through the start of our careers, we were finally taking this step. In the private lounge before the ceremony, Liam had his arm around my waist as we shared a quiet toast with our parents. After a few minutes, he helped me back to our room to rest before we had to make our speeches. We were only moments away from walking out to greet our guests, but suddenly, Liam let go of my hand to take a call by the window. I watched him from the settee, noticing the unconscious smile that spread across his face as he spoke, and a familiar pang of jealousy tightened in my chest. As soon as he hung up, Liam moved quickly, pulling the boutonniere from his lapel and loosening his tie. "I have something I need to do," he said, his tone abrupt. "Let's postpone the wedding." "Liam!" I called out to him, my voice trembling as tears welled in my eyes. He just frowned, tossing his suit jacket onto a nearby table without looking at me. "Chloe is crying again. I need to be with her. You know she's insecure." With that, he hurried out of the room, leaving me completely alone in the lounge. I clutched the fabric of my white wedding dress, utterly stunned. Chloe was the young woman Liam had rescued from an apartment fire about a month ago. At the time, he hadn't yet quit his job as a firefighter, and that mission had been his very last one. I remember seeing him on the news, carrying the delicate-looking girl out of the smoke-filled building, and I had been filled with a mix of admiration for his bravery and compassion for her. But in the weeks that followed, Liam began receiving constant calls from Chloe, often when we were in the middle of a date or just spending quiet time together. Her trembling voice would come through the phone, punctuated by sobs. "Liam, I'm having nightmares again," she would say. "I'm so scared." Each time, Liam would send me home in a taxi and rush over to her apartment to be with her. I had questioned him about it, of course, but he always reassured me with a patient explanation. "I saved her from that fire, Maya. It's only normal that I feel some responsibility for her well-being. She leans on me for support, but it's just a temporary thing. Once she starts to feel better, I won't be seeing her anymore." I didn't want to let go of our 5-year relationship, a bond we had built from the ground up, so I tried to be understanding. I endured it time and time again. But this was different. This time, Liam had left me on our wedding day to run to Chloe. The pain was sharp and overwhelming, and I felt as though something inside me was finally breaking. I called his phone over and over, choking back sobs with each unanswered ring. He didn't pick up. Much later, a voice message from him finally came through. He sounded frustrated, his voice tight with annoyance. "Why are you being so unreasonable? She just got out of a dangerous situation." "It's been almost a month," I mumbled to myself. "If she's that distressed, why hasn't she found a therapist?" I couldn't understand his logic, just as I couldn't understand why my boyfriend insisted on indulging her every whim. After a long, silent pause, I sent him a voice message of my own, my voice hoarse from crying. "Let's break up." Liam still didn't respond. Pushing down the ache in my heart, I composed myself and went out to the main hall to announce that the wedding was canceled. Liam's parents looked mortified and deeply embarrassed. I couldn't bring myself to worry about their feelings right then. My own mother, Emma, rushed over to me to ask what had happened. I told her everything and asked if she and my dad could handle speaking with Liam's parents. From the lounge, I could overhear Liam's mother arguing fiercely with him over the phone. "Break up if you want to. You don't have to treat Maya this way," I heard her shout before he cut her off. "Mom, Dad, stop. I have things to do. Bye." The wedding ended in failure. As I watched the bewildered faces of our departing guests, I hid my face in my hands, shame and sorrow washing over me. Tears dripped through my fingers, splashing silently onto the floor. After what felt like a very long time, I wiped my tears and returned to the apartment Liam and I shared. We had rented this place right after we graduated from college. Every corner of it held a memory. The sofa, the bookshelf, the bed. We had picked out and assembled everything together. We were supposed to move into our new marital home right after the wedding. Thinking about how I had been dreaming of our married life just last night made me feel incredibly foolish. With a sense of calm resolve, I began to pack all of my belongings into suitcases and boxes. When I was done, I left the apartment without looking back. I went back to work the following Monday. I had taken time off for the wedding and honeymoon, but that was no longer necessary. When my colleagues whispered and gossiped in the break room, I casually announced that Liam and I had broken up, even though my heart still ached with the truth of those words. I had to put on a brave face. All day, Liam didn't call or send a single text message of apology. It became painfully clear that perhaps I was the only one who was still clinging to the remnants of our relationship. It felt as though Liam's heart hadn't truly been with me since the moment he carried Chloe out of that fire. After work, I received a call from my friend, Sarah. "Maya, have you made a decision about what I told you?" she asked. A month ago, Sarah had told me about a job opportunity in the neighboring city where she lived. I had hesitated then because Liam's free time was limited due to his new job, and I wanted to be available for him. Now that was no longer a concern. "I'll take it," I told her without hesitation. I had a month of work to wrap up at my current job. One evening after work, I saw Liam's car parked outside my office building. He got out and pulled me toward the passenger side. "Maya, stop throwing a tantrum," he said, his voice strained. "Chloe is just a girl and her mental health is in bad shape. That's why she needs me. Why did you have to cancel the wedding so impulsively?" I stared at him. How can it be a wedding with just one person, Liam? Chloe is 24 years old, not some naive child. Can't her parents or her own friends help her instead of her constantly turning to someone else's boyfriend? "Maya, she's not like that," he insisted. Watching Liam get so angry on Chloe's behalf made me feel dazed. I couldn't help but think about the 19-year-old Liam who had climbed over my dorm wall with flowers, the Liam who had a high fever but still worried about my job interviews, the Liam who used to cherish me. We had argued before, but it had never been like this. It was painfully obvious that his heart belonged to someone else now. I had seen what it looked like when Liam loved me, so I couldn't fool myself any longer. "Fine," I said, my voice flat. "She's great. I only came to tell you that we're broken up for good. The wedding is off, and I have no issue with whoever you choose to be with." I pulled my arm free from his grip and turned to leave, my eyes stinging with unshed tears. I held them back, not wanting to give him the satisfaction of seeing me cry. Behind me, I heard the flick of a lighter. Liam had lit a cigarette, something he only did when he was extremely stressed. I didn't know if he was stressed about me or about someone else. I didn't let myself cry until I was safely inside the subway station, hidden among the crowd. That evening, I went to my friend Sarah's house for dinner. It wasn't just her there. When I arrived, there were two men in her kitchen, seemingly in the middle of cooking. I gave Sarah a questioning look, and she shot me a mischievous smile. "You just broke up," she whispered. "I found you a new man." The guys were already there, so I couldn't just turn around and leave. Sarah introduced one of them as her new boyfriend, Larry. When she asked why Liam and I had broken up, I told her the whole story about Chloe. Sarah was furious and wanted to go make trouble for them, but I stopped her. "We're broken up, Sarah. I don't want to see Liam again." Sarah pulled me toward the kitchen. The man who came out was wearing a face mask, but I could tell he had a great build. "Are all the male models this high quality these days?" I muttered to Sarah. The masked man chuckled and took a seat beside me on the sofa. I found myself staring at his handsome eyes, thinking he looked strangely familiar. Sarah brought over a dozen bottles of wine and patted my shoulder. "Maya, don't be upset over him. Come on, let's drink." I took a bottle and drank a few sips, the strong liquid nearly making me choke. A hand with long, elegant fingers offered me a tissue. "Thanks," I mumbled. Up close, he seemed even more familiar. On an impulse, I reached for his mask, but he caught my wrist gently. "If you look," he said, his voice low and amused. You have to take responsibility. Sarah was already getting tipsy, chatting animatedly with her boyfriend. When the masked man burst out laughing at something she said, I quickly pulled off his mask, looking at him through a drunken haze. Noah? I slurred. I found you. Noah squinted his eyes at me, then got up and made me a cup of honey water. Here, drink a bit of this. As he handed the cup to me, my fingers accidentally brushed against his. When you're a little buzzed, your senses feel heightened, and my mind started racing. Noah, why are you here? I asked. I came to check out my future colleague, he replied smoothly. I glanced at the drunken pair of Sarah and Larry on the other couch. Then Noah patted my head gently, turning my focus back to him. It's you, Maya. Sarah said you'd agreed to join our team, so I thought I'd drop by and say hello. I avoided his gaze, feeling a blush creep up my neck. Hi there, new colleague. Noah was the one who took me home that night. Downstairs in front of my apartment building, I saw Liam, and standing right next to him was Chloe. I couldn't understand why they were both there. Should I step in? Noah asked quietly from the driver's seat. I shook my head and got out of the car alone. Liam saw me and rushed over, gripping my hand tightly, his eyes cast low. Who is he? He demanded. I ignored Liam and instead looked directly at Chloe. She was very skinny and had a fragile appearance, but when Liam wasn't looking, she gave me a smug, triumphant smile. The moment Liam turned back around, Chloe's expression shifted, and she stepped back with teary eyes, grabbing his sleeve. Speak, Maya. Who is he? Liam repeated. It's none of your business. My cold attitude seemed to anger him. He frantically ran a hand through his hair. I waited for you all afternoon. Why didn't you pick up my calls? Then it hit me. I had blocked his number. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Maya, why won't you just listen to my side of the story? I looked at him with a bit of amusement. Even now, as he pleaded with me, Chloe was still holding onto his sleeve. All right, then explain, I said. What's going on between you and Chloe? Liam blurted out, She's just a friend, Maya. You know she doesn't feel secure. Didn't you always tell me to be empathetic? I couldn't listen anymore. I slapped him hard across the face. He looked at me, stunned into silence. I had lost the desire to explain anything further. I turned to head toward my building, but Liam hugged me from behind. Maya, I was wrong. A headache was starting to form behind my eyes. Liam didn't understand what he had done wrong. He was only saying this because he saw me moving on. Did you ever once think about whether I felt secure? I asked. You left so many times for Chloe and never once thought about my feelings. Just then, Chloe began to cry as she spoke. I really didn't mean for any of this to happen. I couldn't stand it anymore. I pushed Liam away and slapped Chloe too. She looked completely shocked. I looked at Liam and said, She's 24. Use your head. If you can't figure it out, don't bother coming to me again. I wish you both happiness. I pushed past them and went upstairs. I could still faintly hear Chloe's tearful voice talking to Liam as I closed my door. I declined Liam's new friend request on social media, got under my blanket, and curled into a ball. Liam had still been wearing the wedding band we'd picked out together. The sight of it was a painful reminder, so I took my own matching ring off and tucked it away in a drawer. I hadn't replied to Noah's message yet. I was still unsure how to face him. Tonight had been a chance encounter, but adults are usually quick to pick up on these kinds of vibes. Could Noah still have a crush on me after all this time? In one of my old college textbooks, Noah had once subtly confessed his feelings in a note. At that time, I was already with Liam, so I pretended I hadn't seen it. It took me a while to close my eyes and fall asleep. I decided to just go with the flow for now. A week later, my company assigned me a new intern to train. She was a sharp learner, which meant I would probably be able to leave for my new job in about 2 weeks. Seeing Noah waiting for me after work reminded me that he had said he'd take me to dinner. Maya, let's go, he called from his car. Just as I was about to get in, Liam burst out from the side of the building. He grabbed my wrist, his voice sounding both urgent and angry. Maya, who is he? I deleted Chloe from my life. I'm really over it. Maya, let's go home. Watching him look so desperate, I frowned and pried his hand off mine. Noah stood on the side, watching the scene with a slightly amused expression. I grabbed Noah's arm and shook it slightly. Sorry, Liam, I have a boyfriend now. Liam's face twisted with a mixture of disbelief and pain. Impossible. Maya, don't lie to me. I bought back everything you took from the apartment. It's just like it was before. Can you please come back and see? I knew it wasn't like Liam to suddenly be over Chloe. Something else must have happened. Avoiding his pleading gaze, I tried to leave with Noah, but Liam blocked Noah's way. I noticed the muscles tensing under Liam's shirt and instinctively looked at Noah with concern. Noah just tapped my forehead gently, which seemed to infuriate Liam even more. He looked ready to start a fight with Noah, and I couldn't let that happen. Using Noah as a shield, but not wanting to give him any actual trouble, I stood on my tiptoes. In front of Liam, I kissed Noah on the cheek and smiled. Let's go, time for dinner. Liam didn't stop us this time. He just stood there, repressing his anger, as he watched me get into Noah's car. Was I helpful? Noah asked as he drove away. I nodded instinctively. He smirked and took me for hot pot. After getting home that night, I did some digging online and found out that Chloe was indeed pregnant. Liam's sudden change of heart wasn't from him realizing his mistakes. It was because of Chloe's pregnancy. Liam doesn't like kids. He's actually quite averse to the idea of having them. When we were dating, he had been very clear about this, and since I didn't particularly want kids either, it worked for us. Now, with Chloe expecting, it was obvious that Liam wanted to reconcile with me out of a fear of being tied down by the responsibility of a child. He was trying to use me as a shield. Liam had genuinely loved me, I knew that. But I also suspected he loved Chloe too, in his own way. Before me, Liam's ideal type was always someone gentle and soft-spoken. Chloe fit that description perfectly. I once thought our path to marriage was set in stone and that no ideal type could make Liam give up 5 years with me. I had trusted him completely. But he had hit me with a hard reality check. Thinking back, the turning point was probably the day he ditched me at the aquarium to go pick Chloe up from a bar. The thought still made me feel sick. I could just picture the words Chloe would use with him. This was an accident. I don't want you to have to take responsibility. I knew Liam well. He's a bit of a traditional guy at heart, but he's also sweet and loyal like a puppy when he truly loves someone. He's genuinely big on emotions. But maybe we were together for too long, and my presence had become routine for him. Chloe's arrival was like a stone disrupting the calm water of our lives. I wasn't surprised at all that Liam came looking for me again. 5 years of a relationship doesn't just disappear overnight. Of course, I still thought about Liam sometimes too, but unlike him, I didn't love him anymore. Over the weekend, Noah invited me out for a picnic, and I said yes. Seeing him in casual clothes made him look much younger compared to his usual business attire. When I saw the fishing rods in his trunk, I felt a little competitive spark. Want to compete? I asked. He nodded, and it reminded me of our college days, particularly a group project that, coincidentally, had involved fishing. Noah, don't you need to be working in New York City? I asked as we cast our lines. Your big sister Sarah thought I'd run off, so she told me to keep an eye on you. He joked, his eyes focused on the pond. Suddenly, my fishing rod wobbled violently. It was a big one, and it felt heavy. Noah stood behind me, using his strength to help me reel it in. As we pulled, I stumbled backward into his arms. He instinctively caught me and then quickly let go, a hint of awkwardness between us. Dinner tonight? He asked. Sure, I replied. Noah handed off the fish to the picnic spot staff to cook for us, and we went to wash our hands. My phone kept buzzing nonstop in my purse, so I blocked Liam's new number as well. We spent the night at a cabin at the picnic spot. The awkwardness from earlier melted away, and it felt as if we were back in our easygoing college days. The next day at the office, the receptionist called my desk with an awkward tone in her voice, saying there was a commotion downstairs in the lobby. It was Chloe. Her eyes were red and swollen as she cried, dressed in a simple white dress. It was lunchtime, and my coworkers were sneaking peeks from behind the glass partition of my department. Chloe pointed at me and accused me tearfully. Sister, I'm pregnant with Liam's child. Can you please stop bothering him? You guys have already broken up. I want to build a home with Liam. Please, just let him go. If I hadn't been the one involved, I would have thought I was some villainous breaking up a happy couple. My colleagues knew that Liam and I were about to get married but had broken up suddenly. Seeing Chloe now, they all had expressions of sudden realization. Is she the one who got between Maya and her guy? I heard someone whisper. I heard her ex saved that girl. Isn't that just ungrateful? How shameless. I walked up to Chloe and smiled pleasantly. Chloe, you really have no shame, do you? Her face turned pale, and she was silent except for her quiet sobbing. This tactic might work on Liam, but it wouldn't work on me. I wasn't going to feel pity for someone who had wrecked a 5-year relationship. In front of Chloe, I unblocked Liam's number and called him. The phone rang instantly. Maya, you finally picked up. With an eerily calm voice, I spoke. Liam, come take your pregnant girlfriend away from my office. The line on the other side went silent for a moment. Maya, let me explain. I'm coming over right now. Chloe defiantly said, Maya, I'm pregnant with his baby. He'll choose me. She didn't seem to realize that Liam didn't care about the kid. I wasn't about to tell her that either. While waiting for Liam to arrive, I didn't bother engaging with Chloe. Instead, I went and grabbed lunch at the cafeteria. Afterward, I went to the restroom and touched up my makeup, dabbing a little water under my eyes to create a subtle, just cried look. I smiled at the fragile, teary-eyed woman in the mirror. With Liam, I had never been the type to be strong every single moment, or refuse to show any weakness. He had loved my independence, but he also loved it when I acted cute and needed him. Maya, I'm here. Where are you? Liam's text came through. I came out of the restroom and walked toward him, waiting in the lobby, looking at him with an expression of carefully crafted distress. As soon as Liam saw me, he rushed over and wrapped his arm around my shoulders. Maya, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I flinched away from his hug. Liam noticed my reluctance and dropped his arm, quietly looking at me. Let's talk outside, I said. At a nearby cafe, I looked at Liam calmly. Chloe is pregnant. She caused a scene at my work today. Is she trying to ruin my reputation? She claims that I've intruded between you two. What do you have to say about that, Liam? It's not true, he said quickly, not even glancing at Chloe, who had followed us. That night was an accident. I never intended to be with her. Maya, I was really looking forward to our wedding. You know that. Of course, I knew he had been eager. He had planned every single detail with such care and excitement. But how could I forgive him for choosing Chloe over me, over and over again? You cheated, Liam, I said softly. Do you really not understand that? Or do you just choose not to? Liam might have taken our 5 years for granted, figuring I would never leave him despite his indecisiveness. Chloe, embodying his supposed ideal type, was different and new, and it had sparked his interest. Do you admit that you cheated? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Liam seemed lost, likely recalling how I'd always spoken gently yet firmly during our past arguments, clearly telling him what he had done wrong. We always managed to work things out back then, but not now. I admit it, Liam choked out. I turned my head away, my voice breaking. I understand that Chloe is your ideal type. You chose her over 5 years of us, so don't regret it later or come back to me, all right? She's carrying your baby, Liam. You gambled away our relationship. Liam clumsily tried to wipe my tears away while I bit my lips, making them red and raw, watching his guilt grow with every tear that fell. You cheated. I can never forgive you for that, Liam. I'm so hurt. Pained, Liam pulled me into a hug. His grip was tight. I glanced over his shoulder at a glaring Chloe and gave her a gentle, sad smile. Playing the victim card? I wasn't above that. I wouldn't forgive Liam, but I also wouldn't let him and Chloe live peacefully together. I had initially thought I would stay out of it, but Chloe had brought this on herself. I pushed Liam away, eyeing him sorrowfully. You should leave. He looked like he wanted to pull me close again, but hesitated. He glanced at Chloe, taking in her woeful face, before finally leading her out of the cafe. Later that day, I noticed a friend request from Liam. Instead of declining it, I accepted. Nonetheless, I ignored all of his messages. Over dinner with Noah that night, I snapped a picture, making sure to get his hand, which was resting near mine, in the frame. Noah looked at me playfully. I waved my phone with a teasing smile. Mind if I borrow you again, Noah? His eyes met mine across the table. Just borrow? Can't it be for real? I paused and considered his words. Why not? With Liam out of the picture, I was open to new possibilities. That depends on you, I answered. All right, Noah replied with a warm smile. That night, Noah walked me to my door and handed me a bouquet of flowers made out of Lego bricks. I took it, surprised. How did he know I was allergic to real flowers, I wondered. He waved as I headed inside, watching from his car until I was safely in my apartment. I sent Sarah a quick message. If Liam asks about Noah, tell him he's just a pretend boyfriend I arranged. Liam sent me a flood of messages again. He said he had already sorted things out with Chloe and that once she had an abortion, he would come to see me. He told me to eat well and take care of myself. When he saw the picture I posted, he immediately asked whose hand it was. I didn't reply. Then, Chloe texted me, calling me shameless. I screenshotted her message and sent it directly to Liam. He quickly replied, indignantly demanding that Chloe apologize to me. Shortly after, I received a voice message from Liam's phone. It was Chloe apologizing. Listening to Liam's voice in the background, coaching her on what to say, I could feel the restrained impatience he had toward her. A week later, Chloe suddenly asked to meet up. Maya, I've thought it through. I know I was wrong, and I'm leaving Liam. Before I go, can I see you one last time? I immediately knew she was up to some kind of trick, but I agreed to meet her anyway. I was moving to New York for my new job in a week, and I wanted to see what she would try to pull before I left. We met at a cafe. Chloe was carefully holding her belly, looking as fragile as ever. Chloe, what did you want to say to me? She smiled and tossed a small stack of photos from her bag onto the table. Sis, although I'm breaking up with Liam, you should know that he really likes me. Your tactics are disgusting, making him ask me to abort our child. Do you really think that will bring him back to you? He enjoys being with me. The photos showed Liam being physically close and affectionate with her. Looking at his clothes, it seemed like they were from the night they had slept together. It had been over a month since then. Why show me the photos now? I realized what she was planning in the next second. With gritted teeth, Chloe slammed her own body hard into the sharp corner of the table, then collapsed onto the floor in a heap. She was clutching her belly, her face pale with pain, yet she wore a triumphant expression. Sis, she gasped, if Liam finds out you killed his child, what do you think he'll do? I placed my phone on the table, which had been recording, and quietly squatted beside her. Don't you know that Liam doesn't like kids at all? I asked softly. Then, mid-sentence, I slapped her hard across the face, twice. I raised my voice, infusing it with panic. Chloe, why did you hit yourself? Quick, someone call an ambulance. I sounded tearful as I spoke. Chloe just glared at me with pure hatred. I personally called for the ambulance myself. Liam rushed over to the hospital soon after, looking worried, but for me. I pretended to be scared witless, and he showed a pained expression. Chloe was awake by the time she was settled in a hospital room. When she saw Liam, her eyes widened and quickly filled with tears. Liam, our baby, it's gone. Liam remained expressionless, which made the situation incredibly awkward for her. Don't blame sis, Chloe sobbed. It was my idea to meet her. I just didn't expect her to do that. Her face still bore the red marks from my slaps, but Liam was already losing his patience. He pulled out his phone and played the recording of our cafe conversation loud and clear for her to hear. Chloe froze. I had called Liam as soon as she had asked me to meet, putting him on mute so he could hear everything she said. Now, Chloe really cried, heartbroken and defeated. But Liam just looked at her coldly. I'll cover your hospital expenses, but don't come to me again. I've thought about it a lot, and I don't like you. I only thought you were my dream type, but it was just an illusion. I only love Maya. With that, Liam took my hand, leading me out of the hospital and into his car. Maya, he pleaded, can you give me another chance, please? I shook my head, telling him I already had a boyfriend. Liam looked at me desperately, holding onto my hand. Maya, I know you're still upset. The boyfriend is just an excuse, right? It was my fault for making you angry. Please, just try not to hate me. I agreed, and he nearly spun me around in joy, but I stopped him and sent him away. Even though I said that to Liam, I had no intention of forgiving him. I gave him a sliver of hope that we might get back together, but it was all a lie. During the next week, Liam kept trying to win me over. He cooked meals and brought them to my office, waited downstairs to pick me up from work, and bought me gifts, but I didn't accept any of them. I was spending my free time with Noah. Liam firmly believed I was just using Noah to avoid him, which only made him more determined to win me back. The night before I was scheduled to leave for New York, I officially accepted Noah's confession of his feelings for me. We had some drinks to celebrate, and the driver he'd hired dropped us off at my apartment building. After the car left, I watched Noah, his tie loosened and a couple of buttons on his shirt undone, and I was lost in thought. I reached out, my fingers tracing his Adam's apple. He held my waist, lifting me up so I was pressed against the side of his car. His Adam's apple bobbed under my touch. I held onto his neck and kissed his face. He turned his head, kissing me back deeply. A loud noise erupted from behind us, but I was too lost in the kiss to care, clinging to Noah. It was only when Liam punched the car's hood that Noah let me go. He stood in front of me protectively, staring intently at Liam. I was dazed, watching Liam's bleeding fist, his eyes reddening with rage. Maya, did he force you? He demanded. Noah chuckled coldly. Maya is my girlfriend. Who are you to ask, an ex-boyfriend? I steadied myself on Noah's arm and spoke calmly. Liam, why are you here? Didn't we break up? He looked like he was about to storm over and drag me away. Maya, isn't this guy just pretending to be your boyfriend? Why was he kissing you? I'm done with Chloe completely. Maya, can we please get back together? He pleaded, tears welling in his eyes. I took a step forward and Noah's hand tightened on my wrist. I could see a hint of unease in his eyes. I comforted him with a quick, reassuring kiss on his cheek before looking back at Liam, whose face was strained with tension as he stared at me painfully. Noah was pretending before, I admitted. But over time, I started to genuinely like him. Liam, I can't be with someone who cheats. He trembled, explaining over and over again with a desperate urgency. Maya, I know I was wrong. I'm not dirty, I promise. Please forgive me. I really miss you. Whenever I lie in bed, all I can think about is you. You can hit me or yell at me, just don't leave me. I shook my head calmly. Liam must have thought I was sympathizing with him when I reached for his hand. But when I began to slide the wedding ring he'd given me off my finger, he panicked, gripping my hand tightly. Noah gritted his teeth, prying Liam's fingers away one by one, keeping him from touching me. I placed the ring into the pocket of Liam's jacket. Liam, we're really done. After that, I led Noah upstairs into my apartment. Liam stood numbly at the door, unwilling to leave. As we went inside, Noah spoke coldly. Feeling sorry for him? I handed Noah a new set of pajamas and nudged him toward the bathroom. Noah, why are you getting jealous? At the bathroom door, he stared deeply at me, pinning me gently to the wall and kissing me for a long moment before finally heading in to shower. I glanced out the window. Liam still hadn't left. Let him be, I thought. Ken came out of the bathroom without a shirt on. I shielded my eyes, accusing him of being cunning. Why aren't you wearing the clothes I gave you? He just laughed. It's wet and uncomfortable. Watching his toned muscles, I was surprised. I thought Noah didn't work out much. He took my hand and placed it on his abs. I remember the way you looked at me last time, Maya. So, who's better, me or Liam? I blushed, pushed him away, and went to take my own shower. You're the best. That night, Noah hugged me to sleep, but nothing more happened between us. The next day at noon, Noah and I boarded a plane to New York together. He had already set up a new house for us there. As soon as I turned on my phone after we landed, I saw a string of messages from Liam. Maya, you're not at the company. Where did you go? They said you quit. Lucy, I won't come looking for you anymore. Can you just come back? I replied simply, telling him that I had quit and moved. His chat bubble indicated he was typing for a long time, but he never sent another message. I put down my phone, changed my clothes, and snuggled into the blankets of our new bed. Noah got out of the shower and pinned me under him playfully. Is the bed soft? He asked. I nodded while looking up at him. His voice was husky as he leaned in. Want to try it out? We spent the rest of the day messing around, and Noah even fed me dinner that evening. I just glared at him, and he laughed. 2 days later, we both started at our new jobs. I adapted well to the new city. We didn't work in the same office building, and I thought it was nice to have some space. We didn't make our relationship public right away. One day, Noah was picking me up for dinner when we saw a junior colleague of mine holding a bouquet of flowers, looking ready to confess his feelings to me. Noah hurried over, tossed the flowers aside, and looked worried. Maya is allergic to pollen, he told the guy. You should step away. The junior colleague, looking confused, listened and left. Noah looked relieved when he saw I was okay, even though the junior hadn't even gotten close. The next day, Noah subtly announced our relationship to our mutual work friends. That night, as soon as we got home, he couldn't wait to loosen his tie. After 6 months of steady dating, Noah proposed to me. It was only then that it occurred to me that I hadn't properly introduced him to my parents. So Noah and I took a flight back home that weekend. He was a bit nervous, but my mom really liked him. My dad, however, kept a stern face as usual, though I was used to it. It wasn't that he didn't like Noah, he just didn't want to let his daughter go. This time, I stayed at my parents' house, and Noah and I talked on the phone every night, making plans for our wedding. In April, I went out to try on wedding dresses. Noah had work, so I didn't ask him to come along. He arranged a car for me, but while I was waiting for it outside the boutique, Liam appeared. He grabbed my wrist and quietly said, Maya, can we talk? I agreed. In the months I had been in New York, I had actually seen him a few times. Glimpses from a distance when I was out with Noah, but I had always pretended not to see him. I didn't want to give him any more false hope. Liam looked more worn out and mature now. It seemed like it took him a lot of effort to say the words. Maya, you're getting married. He seemed at a loss but had a serious look in his eyes. Ever since we broke up, I still find myself missing you all the time. It was only after you left that I truly understood my feelings and realized the mistakes I made. I know you won't forgive me, but I wanted to tell you this in person. Maya, I wish you all the happiness. I gave him a small, casual smile. Thank you, Liam. My phone vibrated. It was Noah, sounding a bit anxious. Maya, where are you? The driver said he couldn't find you. I'll tell you when I get home. I'm getting in the car now. I waved politely at Liam and got into the car when it pulled up. As we drove past him, I noticed his eyes were red. When I got back to our house, it was completely dark. The blackout curtains did a great job of blocking the evening light. I felt my way along the walls to turn on the lights and bumped straight into Noah's chest. I jolted at first but relaxed once I felt his familiar embrace. Noah, weren't you supposed to be working? How come you're back so early? Today's our confession anniversary, Maya, he said, turning on the lights. The room was beautifully decorated with fairy lights and photos. I stepped closer and saw it was a picture from my freshman year of college. On the first day of school, I was looking for material for a photography contest and you happened to walk into my frame. But I never got around to showing you the photo. He then showed me an old, faded love letter, which held the same subtle confessions he had tucked inside my books all those years ago. Seeing my reaction, Noah laughed. You knew back then, didn't you? I grinned and leaped into his arms, silencing his jealous words with a kiss. When we finally finished talking and reminiscing, it was already late evening. I told him about Liam approaching me earlier. Noah rested his head on my shoulder and spoke softly. Even if he regrets it for the rest of his life, he doesn't have a chance. We're getting married. In July, Noah and I had our wedding. Looking down at our intertwined hands, Noah hugged me tight. Maya, he whispered, I love you.